Hey travelers, this is Kelly from realworldtravelers.com, and today I am sharing with you our top 10 experiences that you need to have when you go to Malaysia. These are our own personal opinions and they might differ completely from your own experience. But before we get started, I just want to remind you to check out our daily Malaysia vlogs along with our other Asia videos. I will link them in the little I above and also down in the description box as well. So don't forget to check those out. Now that that disclaimer is out of the way, let's get started. We always say this, but it's definitely worth saying again. You should definitely have a list of the things that you want to do before you go on your trip so that you can get the most out of it. Just like with all of our other travels, we planned for months leading up to Malaysia and we were definitely not disappointed. From its rich history, diversity, and kind-hearted people, Malaysia is a country that welcomes you with open arms and keeps you engaged no matter where you visit. We spent 8 days in peninsular Malaysia visiting Kuala Lumpur, Melaka, and Georgetown, Penang. Each city was familiar to the last, but yet very unique on its own. These cities are arguably the most visited destinations when touring the country, and our only regret was that we didn't see more in the little time that we had. As usual, we're going to start with a few honorable mentions. These experiences are definitely must-haves, but they were difficult to include in our top 10. Nonetheless, they should be included in any Malaysia travel itinerary. Honorable mention number 1, exploring Batu Caves. Batu Caves is unlike any place we've ever been. It's a majestic cave, yet also a place of Hindu worship. The giant Hindu statue at the base of the cave is one of the first things you'll see and welcomes visitors to view its many wonders inside. The climb to the top also makes this experience all the more rewarding because the stairs are very narrow and should not be underestimated. Batu Caves is one of the most visited sites of Kuala Lumpur and probably in all of Malaysia. It can often be extremely crowded and is a bit touristy, but despite all of that, we highly recommend checking this place out. Our best tip is to visit early in the morning to avoid the crowds and to avoid the heat. We took one of the first trains of the day and had the cave almost all to ourselves. And with the steep staircase to the top, we were really glad we tackled it in the cool morning air. It's absolutely free to visit the main cave, but if you're a woman, make sure you are wearing proper attire. Unfortunately, my shorts were a bit too short to enter the cave, but I was able to rent a covering at the entrance for a small fee. Another nice thing about visiting the caves is how convenient it is to get to. Located just off the metro line running north of the city, Batu Caves is only a short ride from the city center. Honorable mention number 2, eating dinner with Sikhs. One of the many things that makes Malaysia such an interesting country is how it harmoniously mixes different religions and people groups. Of course, the biggest religions in Malaysia, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism, are prominent throughout the country, and their influences can be felt in all the major cities. However, one of the most memorable experiences we had in Kuala Lumpur was actually with an often overlooked religion, Sikhism. Ending our walking tour of Kampung Batu, we were invited to take part in a humble meal at a Sikh temple. We were shown inside and told to remove our shoes, wash our hands and feet, and to cover our heads. Then they gave us a simple tour of the temple and led us downstairs to a cafeteria. Each night, this particular Sikh temple provides dinner for anyone that needs food, regardless of race, religion, or social standing. It was such a simple meal of rice with vegetables, but it gave us a whole new perspective of this religion that we knew really nothing about. And it all came about because we said yes to their invitation. When you visit Malaysia, or really any country for that matter, keep an open mind and don't be afraid to learn something new, even if it means getting out of your comfort zone. And now let's get into our top 10. Number 10 for us is exploring the streets on foot. People are often surprised when they hear of how much walking we actually do when we visit a city. Although there are probably more efficient and faster ways to get from point A to point B, we usually feel that walking the streets gives us a greater appreciation of the culture, people, and identity of that place. It also gives us opportunities that are often missed when taking different modes of transportation. The cities in Malaysia that we visited were perfect examples of walkable streets. Melaka and Georgetown were especially great for walking with their grid-like layout, relative compactness, and countless things to grab your attention. Kuala Lumpur was a little more difficult with its bisecting highways, but we were still glad we got out there and walked. Now, by no means are we saying that we exclusively travel by foot when we visit a new city. We definitely use all of our resources when getting around, but if you only see a place through a windshield or through the window of a train, you definitely miss out on a lot that the city has to offer. Number 9. Getting not one, but 2 different perspectives from Petronas Towers. Petronas Towers, like Batu Caves, is one of the most visited places in all of Malaysia, and for good reason. This landmark of Kuala Lumpur stands head and shoulders above the surrounding buildings in the heart of the city, and was at one time the tallest building in the world. But what makes the towers so unique is that they provide 2 different perspectives of the city. Most towers that you visit let you go up to the top and look around, and that's the only view that you get. But Petronas Towers gives you views from both its sky bridge halfway up the tower, and then a completely different 360-degree view when you get to the very top of the second tower. We felt like we got 2 views for the price of 1. Our best tip is to buy your tickets in advance. We visited the towers on a Sunday during the month of August, but if we hadn't purchased our tickets in advance, we would have had to settle for only exterior views. The daily tickets sell out pretty quickly, and we saw a lot of disappointed tourists who waited too long to get their tickets. Petronas Towers is not only incredible to view from the inside, but it's also a piece of architectural beauty on the outside. The distinctively Islamic-inspired design is unlike any tower in the world and should not be missed on your visit to Kuala Lumpur. Number 8. Watching the tide go out from the Klang jetties. Few things in life are more relaxing than watching the tides ebb and flow as the sun sets below the horizon. On our second day in Georgetown, we had this very opportunity from the comfort of our Airbnb at the Chu Jetty. The gentle warm breeze amid the quiet businesses nearby made it all the more sweeter, and we even saw a rainbow from our deck above the water. The jetty can get a bit crowded during the day, but as the evening approaches and the sun sets, the tourists thin out, leaving you plenty of space to take in your surroundings. Number 7. Learning about Peranakan and Baba and Nyonya culture. Another aspect of Malaysia that makes it incredibly unique and diverse is the Peranakan and Baba Nyonya culture. This is a combination of Chinese and Malay mixed with the regality that was the time of British rule. Melaka and Georgetown, Penang are some of the most well-known areas where this culture exists. During our visit to Melaka, we went to a museum that gave us a better understanding of this people group. Peranakan food is also really popular in these cities and should not be missed. Number 6. Staying at different and unique accommodations. Of all the countries that we visited in the world, none have offered us such an exciting array of unique and interesting places to sleep. If you know us at all, then you know that we rarely stay in one place for more than one night. Even though this constant changing of accommodations does become tiring, it gives us the opportunity to experience new and different things. From the high-class 5-star Eastern and Oriental to the home on stilts at the Chu Jetty. From the classic heritage Malay home to the traditional Peranakan-style hotel that was Hotel Putih. Even the quintessential KL apartment with that signature infinity rooftop pool. There are so many different types of lodging that it really makes staying overnight in Malaysia an exciting part of your trip. We mixed a few hotels with some Airbnbs, and that gave us a pretty balanced trip with unique perspectives. If you're interested in saving money on your first night using Airbnb, just click the eye on the upper right-hand corner or check out our link in the description below. I'll also include links to each of the different places that we stayed so you can check them out for yourself. Number 5. Visiting the National Mosque and the Islamic Arts Museum. Malaysia is a predominantly Muslim country with over 60% of the country practicing Islam. Caleb had been to a mosque and learned about Islam when he visited Jordan, but this was my first time in a largely Muslim country. Visiting the National Mosque in KL and seeing the amazing works of art at the Islamic Arts Museum was really the perfect introduction to Islam and gave me a new understanding of this religion and its people. I had a lot of my questions answered at the mosque by a friendly guide named David, and even though I was a little nervous at first, I'm so glad that I stepped out of my comfort zone and took the time to learn more about Islam. I also cannot stress enough how impressed we both were at the Islamic Arts Museum. There were so many beautiful pieces of both art and history that we really got lost in all that it had to offer. The Arts Museum was only 14 Malaysian ringgits and the mosque was completely free. Just be sure you check the times that the mosque is open to tourists because there are a few times throughout the day that it's closed to non-practicing Muslims. Number 4. Malaysian food. I'm sure that every top 10 list about things to do in Malaysia includes its amazing food, and this list is no exception. Because the country has such a wide mix of Malay, Chinese, Indian, and even Peranakan cultures, it means there are countless opportunities to partake of its delicious food. When we were planning for this trip, we attempted to make a list of all the different foods we wanted to try, but after a while the list became overwhelming because there's just so much of it. We tried to eat something new at every meal, but there were a few dishes that we liked too much to only eat once. I'm looking at you, nasi lemak. Don't be intimidated by the sheer variety of food that is available to you during your visit to Malaysia. Just eat what looks good and try a few things you've never thought of eating. Also, don't forget to try some of the incredible exotic fruits available at the markets throughout the different cities. You won't regret it. Number 3. Taking a tour of Kampung Batu with a local. This was the first time in any of our travels that we've taken a walking tour of a city. We usually associate walking tours with being very touristy and not really our kind of thing. However, I'm happy to say that the free walking tour of Kampung Batu in KL has changed our minds for the better. Our tour guide Juan was super informative and had a passion to share this lesser known and visited area of KL. We both felt that he was incredibly genuine and showed us things that we probably wouldn't have seen or noticed on our own. He was another perfect example of the kind-heartedness of the Malay people, and we can't recommend this tour enough on your visit to Malaysia. This Kampung Batu walking tour is completely free and lasts around 3 hours, ending at the Sikh temple that I mentioned before. To find out more info, just click the link in the description below. Number 2. Street art in Georgetown, Penang. When looking for things to do in Georgetown, Penang, street art continually popped up as one of the things to see and do. We definitely don't consider ourselves experts in art or street art by any means, but we were more than a little surprised by how much fun we had searching for the different masterpieces hidden throughout the city. We had researched some of the more popular pieces that couldn't be missed, but otherwise didn't really look up where or how to find them. But before long, the search was on. It became sort of a scavenger hunt looking for street art around every corner. Some of the pieces were really hard to find, but when we tracked them down, we felt such a sense of accomplishment. Never have we felt this kind of rush or excitement when looking at art. It also allowed us to become more familiar with Georgetown, and we stopped here and there when we saw other sites that caught our attention. There were so many unique and amazing pieces of art in Georgetown, but the works by Ernest Sakarevic were some of the best street art we've ever seen. It's absolutely free, and if you don't feel like searching as hard as we did, many places offer maps of the art locations and how to find them. If you're traveling to Georgetown, Penang, this has to be on your short list of things to see and do. And number 1 for us would have to be trying durian for the very first time. There is no other fruit in the world that strikes fear in foreigners' minds more than durian. With its intimidating spiky outer shell, pungent odor, and the infamously acquired taste, we can't be blamed for being a little nervous when we sat down to try our first king of fruits. Despite our hesitations and concerns, we were more than pleasantly surprised at how much we enjoyed this one-of-a-kind fruit. Now, I'm not saying that this is our new favorite fruit or even a close second. However, after eating durian, we can confidently say that we'd gladly do it again and would even look forward to it. That being said, we did try the best of the best, the Musang King. This type of durian does cost more than others, but we figured if we're going to try this fruit, we might as well go for the best. Our best tip is one that we actually heard from Juan, our walking tour guide. He said to best appreciate and acquire the taste for durian, you should try durian flavored things leading up to the real thing. We followed his advice and tried durian in a shake and a pudding, and this honestly helped us feel more prepared for what the taste was going to be like. This experience, more than all the others, left us with smiles on our faces for the rest of our trip. We really felt so accomplished for eating and liking a fruit that so many others can't even swallow. It also proves one of the best reasons for traveling, to get outside of your comfort zone and try something new or different. You just might surprise yourself. And that concludes our list of the top 10 things that we think every traveler should do when they visit Malaysia. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit subscribe because we put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.